Welcome into the live stream here for Hand Raise Guys. Neal, McCready, Chase Parham here with you on a Thursday night. We'll start the show itself here in just a minute. A lot of stuff up on the network. We'll tell you about that as well. We've got Chiefs and Chargers about to get started on Amazon. It's the only place you can see it is on Amazon.
That's what I thought. It's a new world.
Yeah, the pregame show was on NFL Network, but they're showing a replay of Monday Night Football on NFL Network. So this is it.
A replay.
Yeah, I guess
you got to show something. So
I guess this is the new world. This is like the big thing I'm interested in with like SEC and Big Ten and all that stuff is their streaming deals.
Bezos is there.
Is he there tonight?
Yeah,
really?
He's in Kansas City.
Oh, well, I get it. Because that's the next thing. The next thing is there's going to be like an exclusive. If you tell me that the new TV deal includes like these Ole Miss Central Arkansas games, I'm going to tell you those games are going to be exclusive to like Amazon or Hulu or something.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, we'll give people a little bit of time to get in, then we'll get rolling. Ben Mintz will join us. We'll take some calls. Hopefully, you guys are bringing some energy because neither one of us are just chock full of it. All right, so hang tight. We'll get rolling here.
Welcome in Thursday night, Hand Raise Guys. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford studio here this evening. I almost said this morning. This evening, last show of the week. We've got Chargers and Chiefs up on the TV. Amazon Prime for that one. Here in the live stream, you can hang out with us for a little while. We're going to talk to Ben Mintz tonight, Barstool Sports. And then we will take your calls on the back half of the show as well. Got Royals Twins on the other TV because, well, one's streaming, so we have their TV available because of that. Tons of stuff on the network. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Thanks for joining us here tonight. If you're coming to town this weekend, it's an away game, obviously. Head to Atlanta, but if you're in Oxford, take advantage of the lunch special tomorrow at the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford, the Blue Sky location. Spaghetti and meat sauce is your special tomorrow. It is bread and any size fountain drink included with that. And then remember, any purchase you make, you are automatically entered into the next chance to win an official Ole Miss game day football jersey. They've given 2 out already. They've got 5 more to go, 1 for each home game. So stop in, Blue Sky, purchase something, automatically entered football jersey there up for grabs prior to Ole Miss and Tulsa next week at 3 o'clock. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
Is that Ryan Fitzpatrick, by the way?
Where?
They just switched to.
That's Tony Gonzalez.
That's Tony Gonzalez. Then there's a lady in between them, and then I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is on the other side of her. Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done. What I recommend that you do, and let's hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove to you what that means when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest joined all week. And Ben Mintz will join tonight on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to, if you're in town, not heading to Atlanta, you want to watch the Ole Miss game or other games or games before, games after, go to Rafters. Grab a burger, a po' boy, appetizers, full bar, great beer selection, and more there at Rafters on the Square in Oxford. Also Rafters in New Albany. As Chase was mentioning, this is the last show of the week, which means there are a bunch of shows that are on the network right now. Earlier today, we had a Oxford Exxon podcast with Jeffrey Wright. I spent about almost an hour with Jeffrey. It's really good stuff. Encourage you to listen to that. We had an episode of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. Made our picks for week 3 in college, week 2 in the NFL. Pete's Pigskin Preview, presented by Walk-On's Sports Bistro, is up. About an hour and 20 minutes of pretty hardcore Ole Miss, Georgia Tech preview. A little bit look back at some things that Pete learned from the Central Arkansas game, which is because he's a football coach and I'm not, because I didn't learn anything. But I learned a little bit listening to Pete. That's brought to you by Walk-On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day With a taste of Louisiana, dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, and more, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Visit them in Oxford or Ridgeland, and make sure you tell them you appreciate them being part of MPW Digital. And also, whether you're watching the game at home or tailgating in the Grove, let Walk-Ons take care of all of your tailgating needs this season. Inquire today about their family and friends bundles and their tailgate platters. You can order online at walkons.com or on their convenient Walk-Ons app. We also have the Butcher versus the Spin Instructor presented by LB's Meat Market. Greg Jones, Campbell McCready making their picks for the weekend. They have a few differences, so that'll be fun to see. They're completely tied after 2 weeks in their competition. That's brought to you by LB's Meat Market, LB's 2008 University Avenue in Oxford, right across from Kroger. Just use Kroger as a landmark. Go into LB's. The freshest cuts of beef, pork, chicken, fresh seafood every Thursday, stuffed jalapenos, stuffed mushrooms, bacon-wrapped asparagus, and so much more at LB's Meat Market, 2008 University Avenue in Oxford.
See the Mets president stepping down because they found a replacement, Sandy Alderson. That's not.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's been there forever.
2 different stints as GM.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 74 years old, cancer survivor, going to be a special advisor to owners, Steve and Alex Cohen.
They had a rough week this week. Got swept by the Cubs.
Probably got swept.
Probably made the Braves fans happy. Braves fans probably feeling a little affection for the Cubs this week, I'm guessing. Got a lot of pressure on them because they've spent a bunch of money, and the odds are overwhelming that Jason DeGrom's going to walk away at the end of the season.
They have a half-game lead on the Braves.
Oh.
In the East. Braves 7.5 clear of the Phillies, who were in 3rd place. Phillies 80-62, not like they're bad.
No, and they did a lot of that without Bryce Harper, who suffered the broken hand, or the wrist, or whatever.
Mets 89-55, Braves 88-55. 618 to 615 winning percentage.
Tucker wants to know, he says, HRG Food Corner, thoughts on Chicago deep dish pizza?
It's a casserole.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
A casserole.
It's not my thing.
When you need an hour to get it and you have to use a fork and a knife, it is no longer pizza. That doesn't mean it's not good.
Right. Do you like it though? Do you like deep dish pizza? You've not been to Chicago?
I've never had it in Chicago, so I understand that is different.
It is.
In general, no, I would rather a New York style or a thinner pizza than a deep dish pizza. Yeah,
I'm a thin crust pizza guy. I've had it a couple times in Chicago, and it's. I think it's, if you're like a tourist, sometimes it's fun to be a tourist and do tourist things, and it's worth doing. There's some great pizza places there that specialize in the deep dish, and it's good, but it's not my thing. But I'm glad I've done it.
Sure.
You order, it takes a while. You order an appetizer, you get a couple of beers, and it's fun. It takes a minute for it to come out.
Heavy as hell.
Piece and a half, and you're done.
You're not eating the pie.
No, I mean, a bunch of people you can get like 2 pies, 6 people easy, and have leftovers.
How big are they up there?
They're pretty big.
Okay. I mean, like a baking dish? Is that the
No,
right?
It's like a pizza pan.
Okay. It's the square pizza pan.
No, it's round.
It is round.
Yeah,
okay.
it's round.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no, I knew that. Yeah. That's right.
So it's good. I mean, it's worth doing. You do it too much, and you
have a problem.
You're going to have an issue.
Carson like it?
No, it's not his thing. He's a thin crust pizza person, but he's tried it. He liked it fine.
Are there a lot of flavors with it, or is it pretty standard on 1, 2, 3?
No, you can get different stuff.
Can you?
One of the things I don't like about it, I know you wouldn't probably like it either, is a lot of times the tomato in it is kind of chunky, and I don't like that.
Oh,
I like tomato sauce.
You don't want salsa basically on your pizza.
I don't want chunks of tomato in my pizza.
Yes, Ole Miss is wearing the all whites Saturday against Georgia Tech with just the red stripe. So the uniforms they wore against Texas Tech in Houston.
Okay. I'll have to see. I'm not.
White helmet, red stripe, red Ole Miss. White shirt, red numbers, white pant.
I'm looking to see if I can find it real quick. That's compelling stuff.
It's fine.
I'm
It's
looking.
Thursday night.
It is.
There is enough content to satisfy most people's cravings at this point.
If there's not, I don't know what else to do. Don't forget Ryan Brown's podcast.
Oh,
Let's see.
yeah.
Okay. I've seen this one before. But
They haven't worn it since November of 18.
It's the plain white pant.
Yes.
Why not put a red stripe on the white pant?
Yeah.
I don't understand the pants. I don't understand the pants. I mean, literally the second tweet from Ole Miss Athletics that in my feed,
like
here,
a reply to it.
No, a stripe out is coming to Ole Miss football on October 1st. You can stripe the stadium, but you can't stripe your pants. I don't understand.
You don't think Nike would put it? You think Nike would probably put a red stripe on it if you asked for it?
Yeah, because the gray pants that some of the people like so much have stripes. So why not put the stripe on the white pant? I mean, I don't care. I'm just saying. I think the uniform would look better with a stripe on the pant. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it would. All of them would. I mean, what they wore last time with some sort of other kind of stripe would have worked better. But apparently they have one white pant.
And apparently they're determined to stay with the one white pant. It's fine.
I mean, they gave the powder and the gray and the red last week against Central Arkansas.
They did. They gave some of the traditionalists their tradition. Heckler says need a red Mississippi logo with no stripe. Yeah. So if you're not going to put a stripe on it, fine. Do something to give it a personality. Besides just a
what other than a stripe? Because you don't want those big 2008 like hurricane looking things.
No, I don't like that. I mean the logo. I wouldn't have a problem with the Mississippi outline like they have on the back of the helmet.
Oh,
something like that.
No, that's fine.
Just something that gives it something. That's all. A script M. I don't know. Something beats me. I'd put a stripe on it. Thoughts on Ted Lasso getting with Roy's sister? She's been mentioned a lot and is possibly the ER doctor. I don't know. I don't remember the sister. Roy's sister. I don't remember Roy's sister.
I don't remember that at all. Who is it? It's been a minute. I need to.
I'll, in fact, when I know that Series 3 is coming out, I probably will binge Season 2 again.
Just 2?
Just
but
to
the
catch
whole
up.
year? Or can you just grab the last couple?
I'll get the whole year,
really?
And I'll skip the bad ones. Like the
psychedelic episode.
Yeah, I'll skip that. That's not necessary. Did you have a good day?
I don't feel well.
Yeah,
I've been struggling all day. No,
Did you get a nap?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I ever went. I don't know. I mean, I lay down for a while. I don't know exactly what happened.
Gotcha.
No, I'm not doing well.
I can get you a rain.
I heard I had some. I talked
There's
to Tyler.
lots of rain.
I heard that I had rain. I don't think that's the move though. When I want to finish this and then go to bed, I don't think trying to be asleep in an hour and 45 about 2 hours is the move.
Probably not.
With a rain.
Speaking of uniforms, this is a great uniform game.
Well, the Chargers are potentially the best uniform in the league.
That is a great jersey.
I don't like the numbers on the helmets where they are. That's my only critique. It's too busy.
Yeah, it's a little busy. I don't hate it, I guess, because the jersey's so good.
But if you take it off, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And I like the yellow pant. It's a good look. I prefer the white pant, but I have no problem with the yellow pant with the white jersey. And then the Chiefs uniforms are fantastic, period. Road and home. It's a great uniform.
Dwayne Bowe.
Chauncey says they haven't showed Roy's sister yet. Dwayne Bowe played at LSU?
He did. Dwayne Bowe caught. Here's one for everybody. It's been 2006. Ole Miss, LSU, when Orgeron played Schaefer and Adams and had a big lead on LSU, 2-touchdown lead on LSU. It ends up going to overtime because on like the last play of the game or last couple of plays of the game, Jamarcus Russell hit. Would have been Russell. Who would have been?
Yeah, it was Jamarcus. I remember
that was Jamarcus.
Mm-hmm.
He hits Dwayne Bowe on a slant in the end zone, and then the extra point is blocked to force overtime. Parade Jerry blocked the extra point.
I had covered Alabama. Somebody that night was on my way back to Mobile. If I remember all this correctly, that was the night something happened. I can't remember. I don't know. Was that the night? Was that November?
It was late in the year. I don't remember exactly.
I think that was the night that the Oklahoma State basketball plane crash happened.
Was it really?
I think so. Not positive, but I think so.
Oklahoma State plane crash. We're just hanging out on a Thursday, whatever. January 27th, 2001.
Okay, so no.
Now, it might have been somebody else.
Could have been something. It's something. I can't. I don't know.
2006, Ole Miss, LSU football.
Mentioned Bama Brewers to Tyler. Am I familiar with Trim Tab?
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know what Bama Brewers are. Not sure what that is.
Yeah, Brent Schaefer, 6 of 14, 72 yards and a score. Jamarcus, 20 of 36, 223 and 3.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Ben Jarvis didn't have a lot of tread left after those couple seasons. He was the offense.
Yes,
he was Ben Jarvis.
He was like Webb at your guy at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Ralph.
Yeah, they got their money's worth. Ben Jarvis earned his scholarship.
Jamarcus Russell pass complete to Dwayne Bowe for 5 yards for a touchdown. 14 seconds to go in the game. 11 plays, 58 yards. That was after. I think it was Brandon Jenkins or Brandon Thomas. I'm getting them mixed up. Had a chance to end the game because LSU fumbled at midfield, and he could have just fallen on the ball, and the game was over. And he tried to scoop and score, and tripped over it, and they did not get the fumble. LSU recovered the fumble and then scored.
Oh, okay.
So had he literally just fallen on the ball, Ole Miss would have won the game.
Wow.
It was a year, okay?
Yeah.
It was that's the same year as they all got suspended for the pot at the apartment complex.
Yeah.
It was
See, I didn't see them that year. I was covering the league, and so I was kind of covering game of the week type stuff, and they were not good enough.
They were pseudo talented. There was like a lot of young guys who eventually were dudes, but
Ben was referring to brewery. He said it's his Bama brewery.
Oh.
Am I familiar with Trim Tab? I'm assuming that's like an IPA or something. I'm not. I'm not familiar with that. I'm familiar with a handful of breweries though in Alabama. There's a couple in Birmingham that are really good. At least one in Huntsville that I'm aware of, and then a couple down in South Alabama that are pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. There's one in Fairhope that they make an kind of an IPA that I think is really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Chiefs into Chargers territory on their opening drive.
Who would you have picked if we'd had this game in picks?
I would have picked Kansas City. My question was, did I want to lay the 4?
Was it 4?
It was 4 because Tyler took it as one of his games of the week, and I didn't.
He took Kansas City?
Mm-hmm. He took Kansas City and laid the points. Oh, Trim Tab is a Birmingham brewery. I am not familiar with it. I'll have to check it out.
I don't know the last time I was in a brewery.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't is because these two teams always play close games. The Chargers always play the Chiefs really, really well.
It's one where it feels like Kansas City needs it. Like you lose this one at home, and
well, sure, in this division,
it feels like it's a move.
You want to hold serve. It's kind of like a tennis match. If you're the Chargers, I mean, this is a chance to break serve early in a season and basically take a lead in a division.
I have no strong opinion on breweries. I'm good with breweries. I'm just not much of a beer drinker, so it's not my.
Oh, you've never really been a beer drinker.
No, never. I mean, I will have one, but no, it's not.
Yeah,
I don't like IPAs.
My problem with beers, there's not many beers that I don't like. I mean, there's stuff that I like more than others, but I generally can drink any beer and like it.
I'm trying to figure out like what it is with my taste profile, and I think it's that I don't do a lot of bitter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So any beer that gets into bitter, because like I don't like grapefruit even, like anything that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a Negroni, I'm not going to drink for the most part. I mean, stuff like that just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I'm fine having a regular beer. Summer beers are great. I have no issue with summer beers.
Like a shandy.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, come on. It's
sure.
It's fruit and beer, sure. And then there's been several like chocolate or milk stouts that I like when it's cold. I mean, it's heavy and whatever, but I mean,
sure.
I'm all right with that too.
Listen, I like a Guinness. I mean, I do. I've had people go, oh, they have no flavor or whatever. I disagree. Especially on a cold day, middle of the afternoon, sit someplace, I can have a Guinness. I'm fine.
You branch out so much more now or in the last 5 years than you did 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
You would typically just keep like some Stellas and stuff like that in early on.
And I like Stella.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good beer.
No, seriously, like you like that? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Hey, why not? Yeah,
I always laugh at people who are like, I mean, sometimes you just got to play the hits, and there's a reason that it's pretty popular beer. It's because most people generally like it.
I do, and I'm not even making fun. I find it really hilarious because I have some bourbon things like this, so I'm one of you in a different way. But I do love the people that go either, I just want my Miller Lite, and by God, I want my Miller Lite, or I can't drink anything domestic or that's not brewed in more. If it's brewed in more than like 10 different barrels, no, we're good. Like not touching it.
Yeah, I mean, and if all you got is a Bud Light, I'm good with that. I'm cool. That's fine. I like Bud Light. I like Coors Light. I like Miller Lite. I like other stuff better, but like the beer snob guy that's like, oh, I could never have a Coors Light. Oh, shut up. On a hot day, Coors Light's good.
Perfectly acceptable.
Now, if I'm walking into a bar and it's, Friday night, that's probably not what I'm going to pick. But I don't have any problem with the guy that's like, I just like a Coors Light. Okay, cool. That's good. You like what you like.
If you're at a bar with a crap ton of things on the wall, you're not going to order the Coors Light.
No, I'm going to usually try something local.
Give them a shot.
I'm going to give something local a shot. Like if I was in Denver, for example, and I tried a local IPA, and it's probably a good thing that you can't ship to Mississippi because I would have ordered cases of it.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. Like to the point where I almost thought about having it shipped to my brother in Texas.
Do a little bootlicking.
And go get it. Yeah.
I could have.
The problem is the day after that A&M game, I need to get back. I can't lose a day driving.
I've had some whiskey sent to Tennessee and Louisiana and found its way in between. Not beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Sure.
Find something.
Ginger asked if I like the Beast. It's okay. It's not my...
What's the worst beer? Even if you like it, something has to be worse.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, like a Bud Ice or something.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Was it Red Dog or Mad Dog or one of those back in the day? Like one of those cider kind of deals?
It's, what's it called? Old Milwaukee. It's like something light. It's really bad. I don't like malt liquors. Like those are terrible.
No,
those are terrible.
Like a Colt?
Yeah, it's awful. And yes, I've tried one. It's awful. Just terrible.
Typically not going to grab the thing that's in the paper bag in the cooler.
Yeah, the ones I don't like the pecan beers. We've had this conversation before, like
the Southern Prohibition.
Yeah, I don't like that much. And I don't like here's a hot take. I don't like Shiner Bock.
Why?
Something about it. I just don't like it.
Okay.
Now, if it's the only thing available, fine. But I don't like it.
I would never just order it off the menu, probably no matter what. That would probably never be one that I would grab. I don't hate. I mean, I'm not going to go like drink Jaeger, but if somebody hands me a Jaeger shot, I will take it without an issue. I'm not
really
going to throw it up or anything.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well, I mean, again,
yeah.
I can be polite and down it. Like, I'm not going to.
Yeah, Ginger mentions the Christmas beer. We've had this conversation.
That actually might be the worst one. The Abita Christmas Ale
is awful.
It is. And I'm an Abita guy. And
I am too. Like
awful.
The what's it called? Gator. And I'm not a strawberry person. I like their strawberry.
The Turbo Gator and all that
Turbo Gator, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened with the Christmas ale.
The strawberry is a inferior product to other strawberry beers.
Yes. But I can
the
drink
Purple
it.
Haze is a better representation than the
Purple Haze
strawberry.
is really good, actually.
Yeah.
But
just a regular Abita Amber is a good domestic local beer, like just a good beer.
Christmas beers are just hard to do. Like even the people who typically do really good seasonal beers, like Sierra Nevada, they do a really good job usually, and they struggle with the Christmas beer to the point where you want to raise your hand and go, "Why are you doing it? Just stop."
Oktoberfest was out like 3 weeks ago.
Yep,
it's been out since like early August.
Well, it's what we do now. I mean, Halloween starts
There's Christmas stuff in some Walmarts.
No,
I haven't seen it personally. I haven't been in, but I've seen pictures.
Turbo Dog, Andy Gator, yeah.
Yeah.
It's way too early for Christmas stuff. Today's the midway part of September. We haven't even had Halloween yet.
You have to get through Halloween to get to Christmas.
I don't know why we can't just do the holidays the way the holidays were designed to be done. Why is that so hard? Have Halloween, then you go to November and you build up to Thanksgiving, and then when Thanksgiving's over, Black Friday starts Christmas. Why can't we just do it that way?
Christmas stuff can come out.
My wife would put it up the first week of
No,
November.
I don't mean that. I mean in stores.
Okay. She would put it up in the house first week of November if she could. And I guess she can. It's her house.
Day after Thanksgiving feels right. Weekend after Thanksgiving feels right.
We usually put it up the weekend before Thanksgiving just because she's so eager to put it up.
But in the stores, I think get through Halloween.
Yeah.
And then we can.
Okay, yeah, if on November 1st you want to start putting some Christmas stuff out in the store, I'll forgive you. But October, no, it's too early.
I guess it's sales, though. That's why they do it.
Well, that's exactly why they do it.
Because most people already have their Halloween stuff kind of early. Unless you're replacing something.
You already decorated for Halloween?
No.
Okay. I've seen some Halloween decorations. Like when I'm walking and running in the neighborhood, in my neighborhood, there's
45 days.
I know there's some places that have already put Halloween stuff out. Like the skeleton sitting on the front porch and stuff.
All right. G says she has a guy coming the day after Halloween to start putting hers up. I mean,
Ginger and Laura would get along. Yeah.
It's never too early.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
Why don't you just leave the lights up and you just change the decor around them? They're Valentine's lights. They're St. Patrick's lights. They're Flag Day lights all the way through the year.
She says all the Christmas stuff is picked over if you wait until Thanksgiving. There's probably some truth to that.
Now that is probably
true.
Order it online. Find it somewhere.
All right. We'll go to Ben Mintz. We'll come back and open up. We'll take your calls and stuff. Anything football related? I need to see them play a game. I'm ready to watch a football game. I want to see them play Georgia Tech because I think that's.
Do you think Dart is playing every snap?
Yes.
Every competitive snap.
Okay. Here's some news. I had a source today I trust that said Luke Altmaier did not throw a ball all week.
I had heard he was very limited. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that might be somewhat hyperbolic, but that he did not throw this week.
But that
means it's
Here's
dark.
the thing, though. If that's true, it means we have to start going Lane did coach speak. For the first time went, nope, he's playing games.
Well, now Lane's defense would be, I never talk about injuries. That's what he'd say.
But he went out of his say to say Luke was out there. And did he say fine, though? Did he just say he was out there? What was his quote?
I'd have to go listen to it.
Did he play with us with words?
He said he was out there. I can't remember if he said he was fine or not.
Because if he said he was fine, then that was not accurate.
And that would be the first time that he kind of did the coach speaking thing, which would be a really weird time to do it. I mean, why would you do that before Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I mean.
Unless he's worried about Georgia Tech, at which point next week's going to
That's a different story then.
Next week is going to be really bad. I just don't see how.
I think he'll be all right.
I think he will be all right.
That's not.
You could parse those words. He will be.
He was out there today.
Okay.
Which is accurate. He didn't lie.
That means he was standing out there.
He was out there today. I think he'll be all right. So we're just going to push forward with the way we've been, push forward the way that we've been going.
Okay.
We're 2-0, so we'll figure out who goes first at some point later in the week, probably. That's getting coach speaky.
It's coach speaky. He gets away with it a little bit by being futury with the he will be all right.
And we'll figure it out later in the week.
And we'll figure it out, which could mean.
So I guess he could go, hey, well, on Wednesday he didn't react. I don't know.
Yeah,
Thought he might throw. Didn't.
He could say on Monday, I didn't know. Yeah. Chargers take a 3-0 lead, 5:58 to go in the first. Certainly an opportunity for Dart. The question would be, if Luke's not available, do you have to change your play calling a little bit to protect the one quarterback you've got? Or do you trust Kincaid?
You got to play.
Do you trust Den enough to say, hey, we're going to play?
You got to play.
Okay.
You got to play. Because, frankly, Dart is one of those guys that has to play. You restrict him, and all of a sudden it's
I think so, too.
Deal. You got to let him go.
He likes to run.
I mean, frankly, Matt was like that, too. You had to kind of yell at him a little bit, but you had to let him play.
Yeah.
So, no, I think you just go.
Yes, please like and subscribe if you're in the stream. We'd love for you to do that. Love for you to hit the subscribe button. Love for you to tell a friend. Leave a review on the podcast deal. Tell people, even if you just give us 5 stars, even if you say something bad. That's all we ask. I mean, we'd rather you not say something bad, but if you do, it's okay. All right, we'll go to Ben Mintz now. We'll come back after Ben and talk to you guys. So here's Ben Mintz on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Barstool Sports, Ben Mintz. You can follow him at Barstool Mincy on Twitter. Ben, kind enough to spend another Thursday evening with us as we watch some NFL, visit with you guys. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing good, Neal. Hopefully we can build off. I feel like I had a pretty strong NFL week 1 on here, so knock on wood. Let's keep the momentum going. And just like you, I mean, being in the sports media business, it's funny. You sit around waiting on football season all year, and then once it gets going, you are in it.
It's really weird how time moves differently. Like in the spring and summer, a day feels like a day. And in football season, it's really weird. The weeks feel like they take forever, but each day just goes boom, boom, because you're just busy and you're going. And I'm doing shows and like today, we're taping this on a Wednesday. I was supposed to tape with Jay Tate. I got caught on something else. I'm trying to reschedule. It's wild. But anyway, it's great. I'm not complaining. It's a great life.
Same. And it's anybody that follows me knows. I mean, I'm working at the zoo at Barstool, so it's you never know what you're going to get into. We've got like a really big formal thing tonight with a lot of our sponsors called the Upfront for that's important for next year. So I'm going to go put a good face on that and hopefully pick some more winners here this week. Before we get into NFL, I do want to shout out. Got a lot of friends going to Atlanta for Ole Miss Georgia Tech. My brother-in-law and sister and nephew are taking him to his first game. He's 6 years old. But a lot of my Rebel friends from the past are making it this week, and so I hate to miss it.
I'm going to ask you real quick because I'm a little curious. I do this deal with Tyler Siskey every week where we could pick college and pro games against one another. There's a couple of college games, Ben, I want to ask you about. Am I missing something? Georgia Southern, which went to Nebraska and won, is getting 11.5 at UAB. Am I missing something there?
Well, the only thing is it's like a really big off that Nebraska win the next week, they're probably kind of vulnerable. If that makes sense, it's like a lot of times you have like a big, crazy win like that. UAB's been really good against the spread. I know they just run the ball well, but they lost at Liberty too. I would lean Georgia Southern, but I don't have like a strong opinion on it.
All right, another one that I know that you have a lot of Louisiana ties. You have followed ULL over the years. Billy Napier's gone, but they didn't look like they lost a beat last week. ULL heads to Rice, only giving 11.5 against a Rice team that hasn't been very good in a while.
Yeah, I'm ULL or nothing. If this game, I would rather this game be in Lafayette and ULL be -17 than it be -11 on the road. my gambling style, Neal, the big thing, I really just stay away. I'm not a big road favorite guy. That's kind of just something that's like strategically, like I feel like a lot of times, and I'm not saying this game's a sucker bet at all. I mean, Rice sucks, but I don't know. The road favorite game is like historically, I learned a lot of mistakes losing money, take it back in favorites, land points in the road. So I try to stay away from it.
Well, I'm throwing another road favorite at you, but I'm surprised the line's this low. Oklahoma at Nebraska. Oklahoma only laying 11 points against the Nebraska team. Look, I know they made a change and it's a new coach and all that stuff, but they're not very good.
Yeah, that one looks really ratty to me, and I would go Nebraska or nothing.
Okay.
Just because it just smells like you just mentioned it. Like if Oklahoma was favored by 13.5 or 14, I think I'd like Oklahoma more. But it coming out that low at 11 or 11.5. And last year, Nebraska was playing really bad early. They'd lost to Illinois, and then they almost won at Oklahoma, kind of in a similar spot. Look, I'm not saying Nebraska is going to come out and win, but just something about that game, that line just looks a little too good to be true. Nebraska's new head coach, interim coach, Mickey Joseph, who was actually LSU's wide receivers coach, and he's a big New Orleans guy. And they basically just hired him to try to get some Louisiana speed up there because they needed some guys at playmakers. And they got an LSU transfer and Trey Palmer and Dakotas Crawford, who, has the great NIL AC commercial. He's a Louisiana guy, but, he just got hired there as their wide receivers coach, a few months ago. And now he's the first black head coach in any sport in Nebraska history. Pretty wild stat.
All right, let me throw a few road dogs at you that are interesting. Michigan State getting 3 at Washington. Pac-12's not been great so far this year.
Well, so an old Ole Miss media friend of ours, or I don't know a friend, but a good friend of mine, Stephen Godfrey, got in my ear before the year and said Washington is going to be a lot better than people think because they had a really bad offensive coordinator last year. And I know Michael Penix isn't necessarily the greatest quarterback, but they have scored a lot more points the first 2 weeks. And I think Michigan State's regressing a little bit this year. I think they overachieved. So I actually would lean Washington here, laying the 3. They got it out there in Seattle.
Purdue heads to Syracuse in a sneaky good game. Purdue getting 1.5 at Syracuse. Two teams that aren't terrible.
No, Syracuse has actually been extremely impressive the first 2 weeks. The Louisville win looked even better after what Louisville did to John Rice Plumlee last week. Yeah. And then Syracuse, UConn's not good, but they beat them by, all you can do is beat the crap out of whoever you're playing. And they've got a weird home field advantage in I don't know what the heck it's called now, but we used to be the Carrier Dome. We all saw what happened to Purdue when they got gutted by Penn State on opening night. This is kind of a game I'm probably staying away from. If I had to make a pick, it would be Syracuse at home. But I think I'm going to sit back and watch this one.
All right, last college game before we dive into the pros. BYU with a big win over Baylor last week. They go to Oregon this week, 2 nationally ranked teams. BYU getting 3.5 on the road in Eugene.
I need to see I hadn't seen the updated injury report on those 2 BYU receivers that were out last week because I really thought that affected them. So I'm going to wait and check on that, but I would lean BYU in the points. I think they know how big of a game this is, and I think they'll fight really hard. And Oregon their carcasses are laying all over the field, still in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and then they hammered Eastern Washington last week. But it's hard to read too much into that. So I think I'd lean BYU in the points here. But the one thing with BYU is they have such a good home field advantage when they have people in Utah. And this one they're on the road. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. And I do want to mention, I know you said you're about to move on from college games. Interesting seeing Mississippi State laying points in Death Valley.
What do you think of that?
Just night game, Death Valley. State crushed Arizona and Memphis, but I don't think either one of them are very good. I just on principle, like I said, you hear me say I hate road favorites. I think I'd take the LSU +2 here.
Maybe this is the Louisiana boy in me, but I'm with you. I had a hard time you handing me points on with LSU at home, basically at night, and me going, nah, I'm good. But State's good, and I get it, and the line's moved up if it's done anything over the course of the week. So there's money coming in on the Bulldogs. You know what? I'm remiss in not asking you about this one. It's an inflection point game for Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah,
Saturday night. Miami comes to town. Miami 5.5-point dog. You look at A&M's schedule. If capital I, capital F, if A&M were to lose to Miami, they got to play Arkansas and Arlington next week. Got to go to Mississippi State after that. Got to go to Alabama after that. Get Florida at home after that. Get Ole Miss at home after that. This thing could spiral. Feels like a big moment here for Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think what you said is great. They hadn't said much about this quarterback situation this week, which is what I'm curious about. Is Max Johnson going to get a shot here?
Feels like
this thing's like A&M to bounce back in this game. By the way, Vegas made the line. Still making A&M a solid 5.5-point favorite after what happened last week. You got to think the public's going to be back in the Hurricanes. Miami didn't play very well against Southern Miss either, to be flat out honest. And this first year Mario Cristobal, we really don't know too much yet. Obviously, Van Dyke was really good down the stretch at quarterback last year. But, I mean, I'm A&M or pass. It's hard to lay 5.5 as bad as their offense looked through 2 weeks. But you got to think they have to bounce back this week. It's like what you said. I mean, there's just too much at stake for them to roll over here and how bad it could snowball.
If they roll over and it looks bad and it looks like something's happening inside their roster, and again, I don't think that's going to happen. I took A&M. I'm laying the points. I think they're going to bounce back. But if they don't, and if there's something systemic about them, or if they just can't move the football and can't score, which was their problem against App State, they simply couldn't move the ball. If that's the problem, Ben, it's about to get bad because they're about to run into some teams that can just absolutely beat them.
Well, what's funny too, Neal, is this NIL world we live in where they spent God knows how much money on that freshman recruiting class. And these guys, I mean, I hate to call it out, but what loyalty did they have to Texas A&M other than that money? They're not going to be afraid to get out of there like that place is on fire if this thing goes bad. And I was laughing seeing Lane Kiffin rocking the transfer to the SIP in his press conference the other day. But, if things start going bad at A&M, I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at some of those guys next year.
Well, you get guys that only go there for the money, and then things fall apart. And it's the game on Saturday that if you told me I could only watch one game, I think it's the game I watch. I'm so curious about what happens with A&M if it goes bad. And I don't think it will. I think they're going to right the ship. I think they're going to be okay. Frankly, I think they're going to win this game. I think they're probably going to beat Arkansas. I won't be surprised if they beat Mississippi State and then to set up the Alabama game where I think they get smoked. But that's what I believe. But man, if Saturday goes weird, all bets are off.
Yeah, I kind of I'm in the same boat. I'm really excited. We're doing a big stream for Mississippi State LSU with Brandon Walker and Megan making money and Casey Smith and me, and that's going to be the State LSU and A&M Miami are the most interesting. I'm also taking a long look at. Do you think 65 seems a little high for this Ole Miss Georgia Tech total?
Yeah,
I think these Ole Miss over-unders are way inflated from how high-scoring the Rebels were in 2020 and the early part of 2021. But I like the way – granted you play – Ole Miss has played no one – Troy's decent. But I think Ole Miss's defense is better than people think. I like the running game, and you're still figuring out the quarterback thing. I think 65 is way too high for this game. And I saw how, Georgia Tech, look, they couldn't move the ball against Clemson, but I thought their defense fought hard and kept them in it into the fourth quarter. So I don't know that I'm seeing, I think Ole Miss is going to win this game. How does 31-14 or 17 sound? But 65 seems extreme. 65 seems extremely high. Yeah. And I'm really looking at that under.
I love the under. Absolutely love it. Think it's one of the best bets. One of the best bets on the board, actually. All right, let's get into the NFL. People are watching this interview while they are watching Chargers at Chiefs. So by the time they hear your voice, it's going to be too late to place a bet. I actually kind of love KC -4 against the Chargers.
I don't know what. Okay, I'm Chargers or pass, and I love Patrick Mahomes, but these KC Chargers games the last few years, 2 of the last 4 have been overtime. The Chargers won by 7 at KC. These division games are always just straight dog fights. The Chiefs beat them on Thursday night in December last year when Kelsey had that long touchdown to win the game in overtime. I'm curious. I like Khalil Mack looked good last week. I think that was a really good addition for the Chargers, getting that pass rusher. And I believe in Herbert. I think this is a game that could come down to the wire. Boy, I'll tell you what, though, and I was guilty of this too. Everybody acting like KC was going to fall off without Tyreek Hill. Certainly learned a thing or two last week with Mahomes going 30 of 39 for 360 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was almost like he was making a statement. All right, let's go to the Sunday games. We'll just touch them.
That's fine. I don't have a strong read on that Chiefs-Chargers, but I got some strong ones for Sunday.
All right, so here we go. Tampa is at New Orleans. The Bucks laying 2.5 in the Dome.
So it looks like a rat line. I always talk about the road favorite by 2.5 being ratty, even though last week both Buffalo at the Rams and Tampa at Dallas both proved me wrong last week. But Saints are 8-1 in their last 9 against Tampa. Home game. Tom Brady's played bad against the Saints. I lean Saints here. The only thing, if you watch the Saints last week, the offensive line looked horrible for the first 3 quarters. And Tampa's got a good pass rush, so that's concerning. But I still would lean the Saints at home. They just have gotten the best of the Bucs in this series. And until otherwise, I think I'm going to ride them in it.
Weird game here. The Giants go to Tennessee and beat the Titans. Now they go home with the chance to go 2-0. They're only giving 2 points to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, this one's a state. You kind of mentioned it. It feels like you want to take the Giants based on how Saquon Barkley looked last week. He had such a big game. And Carolina struggled to stop the run against Cleveland. Cleveland does have a good running game. But, man, it's like one of those things where in your head you're trying to talk yourself into the Giants. But for some reason, I feel like Carolina may win this. So we're going to move on by this one and pass.
All right, we're going to pass this one. We're going to go to Baltimore here. The Ravens. I have a feeling you like this game. The Ravens at home. Giving 3.5 to the Miami Dolphins.
I lean Baltimore here. I do. I know Miami. Miami's got a way better defense than people think. I think people kind of aren't realizing that they're really strong on defense. I'm still not all in on Tua, and I think Baltimore's going to be tough at home and come out strong in this one. So I like but don't love Baltimore.
The Jets head to Cleveland. Cleveland coming off the win over the Panthers. The Browns giving 6 points to a Jets team that looked anemic last week against Baltimore.
As long as Joe Flacco's starting going on the road, I'm betting against him, just period. He's washed up. He's done. Browns kind of people are off him a little bit because of the Deshaun Watson thing and the quarterback thing. But Brissett, look, he's not great, but they can run the ball behind that offensive line. Last year, the thing that ate Cleveland alive last year, they had a really great offensive line 2 years ago, and everybody got hurt. But now they got those guys healthy again. That running game, Nick Chubb and Hunt's good. They got a good pass rush with Myles Garrett. I just think Jets. I mean, I love Elijah Moore, but he's in a bad spot on that team right now.
Another noon game, the Patriots giving 2 against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh coming off of that basically 5-quarter overtime win over Cincinnati in Cincinnati. The Steelers getting a couple of points at home against Belichick and the boys.
It's a weird one. So Mac Jones, I keep hearing different stuff about Mac Jones, if he's going or not. Surely they were acting like earlier today, the other Barstool people were acting like he wasn't. But how could New England be favored if Brian Hoyer was starting here? I just can't possibly believe that. But what I will say is this. I'd hate the road favorite thing, but, man, Belichick has just owned Mike Tomlin. I mean, they've played so many times through the years, and the Pats have gotten the best of the series. And so, I don't know. I need to see until I know Mac Jones is going, I'm staying away. But I just know I'm a little leery of going against New England. Also, T.J. Watt, that's a really tough injury for Pittsburgh.
Big time, because he was dominant. And when he went off the field, they were not the same defense.
No. Did you skip the one game? Did you happen to mention the Colts-Jags game? I haven't liked that.
It's the very next one. I'm going to get to all of them here. We got the Colts. There's another noon game. Colts minus 3.5 at Jacksonville. Colts, they were not good last week. They survived it, stopped a disaster, but they with a tie against Houston. What do you think about them heading to Jacksonville?
I think Indy plays like crap in Jacksonville every single year. And we saw what happened in week 18 last year when they lost and cost themselves the playoff. And, Jacksonville, I know they lost 28-22, but, man, Trayvon Walker, whew, a lot of people were wondering who, people were surprised he was the number 1 pick. He showed a lot last week. Man, he was making big plays. I like Jacksonville. I think if they win this game, I'm taking them the points. I like them at home.
All right. One last noon game. The Commanders, coming off of a win last week, head to Detroit. The Lions comeback against, Minnesota, or no, Philly. Lions comeback against Philly came up just short. Detroit is a home favorite, laying 1.5.
Man, I feel like there's the sentiment, and I know Detroit covered last week and scored a lot of points. They've got a good offensive line and all that stuff, but I just feel like everybody in America is wanting Detroit to be better, something they may not be. And I can't lay 1.5 or 2 with them. I thought Wentz looked pretty good last week, honestly.
I did too.
So I would lean Washington in the points on the road here. I love Dan Campbell, former Saints tight ends coach, great character, hard knocks, all that. But I don't love Jared Goff. I can tell you that.
All right, a pair of 3:05 games. The Falcons, these are some big lines late in the day. Late in the day, big lines. Falcons getting 10.5 at the Rams in a 3:05 game.
So we kind of do a thing on Monday on Pick Central during NFL season. We have the not that bad power rankings. And I put Atlanta at number 2 on it last week because I really like their play calling with Mariota. And I know the Saints usually don't allow 100-yard rushers. And Cordarrelle ran for over 100. But I think Mariota, look, I'm not saying he's like some all-pro, but he gives them a little juice they didn't have with Matt Ryan, his mobility. And I think it kind of opens up their playbook a little bit. And look, everybody's expecting the Rams to just bounce back, but no Andrew Whitworth, no Von Miller, no Odell Beckham. Stafford's elbow looks hurt. This smells like a real bad Super Bowl hangover. And I know they look bad against Buffalo and people expect to bounce back, but I think Atlanta's going to fight them here. I'm going to take the 10.5.
Another big line, Seattle heads to San Francisco. The Seahawks coming off that emotional win over the Broncos, getting 9.5 points in San Francisco.
This one's fascinating to me because everything about how I like to gamble points to the Niners here. They played like crap, but it was really bad. That weather, I don't know if we can judge Trey Lance off how he played in that weather. I mean, he was very inaccurate and he was very bad. But, man, I mean, it was sloppy out there in Chicago in that 19-10 loss. And Seattle, they're kind of the America's darling off that upset on Monday night. Geno Smith played well. But Vegas is making a statement, making San Fran 9.5 here. And, I think it would be 7. I thought it'd be 7,
Yeah.
And so my instincts lean the Niners and Trey Lance having a good game here.
Oh, okay. All right. Another pretty big line. Not surprising, though. It would be totally different if Dak Prescott were healthy. 3:25, it's the Bengals in Dallas to play the Cowboys. Cincinnati coming off the loss to Pittsburgh, giving 7.5 to the Cowboys.
I just can't lay over a touchdown on the road here. I think the Bengals are going to be extremely public. Everybody's, the week 1 overreaction game, Dallas looked horrible. There's no getting around it. Dak's out. Cooper Rush did play well when they won in Minnesota the last time he started. They look really, really bad, but I still would go Dallas or nothing here. Just 7.5, 8 on the road is a ton. And the Bengals had trouble blocking last week. They could have some problems with Micah Parsons. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this. It's one of those things. It's really hard to hit the submit button betting on Dallas here, but I know I'm not laying 7 or 8 with the Bengals.
All right, I got a couple of games coming up here that I need you to talk me out of. Another 3:25 game. Houston is at Denver. The Broncos are a 10-point favorite, but tell me why they don't cover this.
Can't tell you why they don't, because if you look at Houston last year late, they got really tough at home, and I know they were up 20-3 on Indy and tied, but they beat the Chargers late last year as a big underdog at home, and they stunk on the road. Awful. I mean, bad. And I think their home road splits until they prove they can fight on the road. I lean Denver on the bounce back. Although I know it was a weird situation for Russell Wilson Monday with getting booed. I know he's probably surprised how bad he got booed. I was kind of surprised by that, to be honest. But I don't know. This may be a take that gets flamed. I don't think he's like that great of a passer anymore, or really ever was. And I think he's pretty good, but I don't know if Russell Wilson is your 5-year, $250 million savior that everybody's that Denver's asked him to be. I do lean Denver in this game, but I wasn't shocked. I was on Seattle Monday, and I think Denver's overhyped going into this year. Having said all that.
All right, Arizona and the Raiders, the other 3:25 game, the Cardinals getting 5 at Vegas. I kind of like the Raiders here, minus the 5.
I do too. I think, Neal, let's go ahead and say it. Remember, I just said the not that bad rankings. Atlanta was high. Arizona would be at the top of. They may be horrible and nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Like they were 9-0 last year and they melted down the stretch, got smoked in that playoff game, had all those problems this offseason with Kyler, with the playbook. And then you look at their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, seems like maybe he had a little gimmick stuff in him, and now that gimmick stuff's up in the NFL. And they're getting a little exposed. I mean, KC woodshedded them. I know KC's great, so we'll see. But I just feel like, Arizona was 9-0 at one point last year, and since then, boy, the arrow seems to be pointing down on their team.
And I like what the Raiders are doing.
Derek Carr had a bad game last week, but, man, the Chargers got a great pass defense, and they had a Khalil Mack, and they still only lost 24-19. I think the Raiders, home opener here, I like them too.
All right, the Sunday night game's a big line for an NFC North rivalry game. I know the Bears are bad. They got to win, but they're getting 10 points at Green Bay. The Packers coming off a season-opening loss in Minnesota. The Bears getting 10 points at Lambeau, Ben.
Feels like the Green Bay bounce back. Last year, remember what happened in week 1 when the Saints crushed them 38-3 in Jacksonville? They kind of had a similar effort of that in Minnesota on Sunday. Everybody's asking, if they're bad and all that. I think perfect bounce back spot. Bears won last week, and you got to give them credit. They played hard. Really like that Marquise Robinson rookie who had 2 sacks. He looked good in preseason. But, man, this just reeks of a Green Bay easy bounce back win, like 27-10 to me.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. All right. Monday night, 2 games. You got the Titans and the Bills.
Love the doubleheader.
Bills attitude. Bills look so good in the opener. The Titans lose to the Giants, as we talked about earlier. This is the 6:15 Monday game. Buffalo giving 10 at home to the Titans.
You almost can put on what I said last week about Tennessee, and I'm basically repeating it. When Tennessee's a big favorite, you fade them. We were on the Giants last week. That was one of my favorite games. And now you're giving me 10 with this Titans team with Vrabel. Come on, Tennessee all day here.
Okay.
Buffalo obviously is one of the best teams in the NFL. I'm not sliding them, but you can look back, go do some research on the Tennessee Titans the last couple of years. When they are a big underdog, they cause big problems. So I think this is going to be a close game, and I like Tennessee at 10. I don't know if they can quite win it, but I think they'll fight, and I think 10's a lot to get. And so I'm on Tennessee here pretty confidently, actually.
All right, last one, 7:30 Monday night. Two NFC teams that got opening day wins. They're both good. Neither are great. Both are playoff contenders. Philadelphia is probably a favorite to win its division. Minnesota's a solid team, as you saw by them beating Green Bay. The Vikings head to Philly. The Vikings getting 2 on the road against Jalen Hurts and the guys.
We keep this short and sweet. If Kirk Cousins is playing on prime time, I'm betting on the other side. Period. Go look up his Sunday and Monday night stuff. It is just atrocious. I do think Minnesota looked great last week. I like how creative they were with Justin Jefferson, who, 9 for 184. Huge game, but I like Philly. They're going to have a really good home field advantage this game. Like I said, the Cousins on the road Monday night thing, that's enough for me. So we're going Philly here, laying 2.
Ben, great stuff. How can people get your work this week? What can they look for?
Okay. We got a live stream. We should be live during the second half of Ole Miss Georgia Tech too. Live stream Saturday and Sunday for Saints Bucks. Actually, do me a favor and follow me on TikTok at Barstool Mincy. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but they're pushing it hard on us at work. And so, I know I'm going to start putting some of the recap videos, like stuff I do on Twitter on there. But I'm just going to throw a lot of crap at the wall, and hopefully some of it will stick. That's kind of been most of my Barstool strategy in it anyway. It's kind of gotten me here so far. We're going to go a little harder at the TikTok. And, we've got and I also have a fantasy football show 11:30 Eastern on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel every Sunday morning. That's a lot of fun. So it's kind of, how it is. This time of year just involved in a lot of stuff, and looking forward to. I'll be at Ole Miss, Kentucky, and I know that's looking like a very big weekend at Oxford, especially after what happened with Kentucky in the swamp last weekend.
Absolutely, it's going to be a big game. You can already feel it kind of building with Kentucky. It looks like they'll be undefeated when they head here. I think Ole Miss will be undefeated when Kentucky gets here. October 1st, big game, maybe the big game. There's a couple other contenders for that weekend. Potentially Arkansas at home against Alabama, potentially NC State and Clemson, but Ole Miss Kentucky's going to be a really big game, and the winner of that game is going to emerge as a team that has to be dealt with.
Yeah, I'm excited to get down there. I've been love Barstool, but I've been missing the South a little bit lately, so can't wait to get down there and see everybody.
Enjoy the get together tonight. Thanks for the time as always. Talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Neal. Appreciate it.
That was Ben Mintz, Barstool Sports, kind enough to join us on Thursday evenings, talking some NFL. I'll have to go back at the end of the weekend, see how he did with his picks. Can't do any worse than I did with my NFL picks. I was 2-3. It's not terrible.
That's okay.
NFL's hard, man. I mean, you're not going to make a living on NFL picks.
What'd you do college last week?
6-0 with Tyler?
No, with us.
5-6.
Okay. So you went 6-0 with Tyler and 5-6 with us.
Yeah, 6-0 in the non-SEC games, and then 5-6 in the games that I'm quote
you chose to pick,
paid to pick. Tells you a little something.
Here's the deal, though: we would never pick every game if we were actually trying to put a record
Hell
together.
No.
There's lots of games you wouldn't just jump on. I mean, Ole Miss would be a no-go because I've got Tech covering Saturday.
Yeah, I know you do. And I've got Ole Miss covering. I don't.
I think they're winning. I don't think. I mean, it's just,
yeah. Well, I know that. I think Ole Miss covers. I don't think Tech's going to score more than.
I'll tell you,
14 points.
If I regret it, it will be because I said on the podcast earlier in the week, I watched Jeff Collins and went, he is not confident in the slightest.
Yeah.
Going into this game, he just wants whoever's next week. At this point, he was not feeling good about it.
No, if you listen to Kelly, you could tell Kelly had talked to people there, and they're not pleased with scheduling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to play 2 SEC games in addition to your ACC slate?
That's not.
I mean, why? You're going to play Ole Miss and Georgia in addition to your ACC slate?
Yeah, like see if Vanderbilt wants to have a Smart Kids Bowl. Go play them. But, like.
Right. Well, call Northern Illinois. Apparently they're taking people.
Everybody.
I mean, I don't know. I get it.
I did admire that you looked up the price of the game day bibs for the Georgia Tech faithful.
Well, I woke up at 3:40 in the morning.
And got up.
I have a rule. Actually, I woke up at 3:30, and my rule is 20 minutes.
That's it?
That's it. If I lay there for 20 minutes.
After what time, though?
I don't care. I'm up.
You're not going to get up at 12:10.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not laying there for 20 minutes. And I might go back to bed.
But you are going to at least move.
I'm going to get up. And so I got up, and I came in here, and I said, I got stuff to do. And that's a little bit of a laborious process. Finding the photo, cutting the photo, loading the photo.
It's a pain in the ass.
Trying to make sure I give credit to the person who took the photo, even though nobody else cares. I do. And then you try to come up with something creative. And so I did that morning with, you know what, I'm just going to sort of do this in chronological order and tell a story. And that's what I did. And so I looked at the picture of the bibs, and I thought, wonder how much those cost. Like, why would you spend on those bibs?
So you're looking up those bibs at 3:00.
It was 5:09 in the morning when I looked those up. By that time, I was committed to being up, and so
they play UCF too.
Yeah,
somebody scheduled Ole Miss, UCF, in Georgia.
I mean, they should be fired. Why are you doing that to your
horrendous.
coach? I mean, yeah, was Mercer not available?
You're searching for wins. That's it.
Call ULM, for God's sake. They'll come play. By the way, it's 10-7 Chargers, 11-19 and counting to go in the second quarter.
Been a game.
Third and about, a typical Chargers-Chiefs game. Third and short inside the Chargers' own territory. Herbert just made a really nice pass that they get a first down to the 45. So Los Angeles should be San Diego. The Chargers continue with their drive. Just the NFL is just such a great product. This is not about a slap on the college game, but when you get an NFL game with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, it's just going to be so clean. It's why the league is. It's why the league is the king, and and the rules are designed for offense, and then you get great quarterback play, and it's awesome.
Yeah, listen to this open and this close. You've got Georgia Tech, their first 5 games of the season: Clemson, Western Carolina, Ole Miss, UCF, at Pitt to open. And at UCF, by the way. They go to Orlando.
I mean, they could win there. Probably won't.
They get a couple easier ones, both at home, Duke and Virginia. And they go to Tallahassee, okay. Go to Blacksburg, okay, whatever. And then close Miami, North Carolina, Georgia.
Ooh.
Got some work cut. He's fired. But then who are you hiring?
He's fired, but who are you hiring? Because the moment you fire him, it's not his fault anymore.
And it was his job to get them out of the triple option, to make them play modern football.
And he's done it.
Yeah. It's a hard gig.
So apparently people on social media and here are bitching about the Amazon thing.
I don't have a problem.
But I think this is the way I get it.
What are we mad about?
Some people are mad because they don't have Amazon Prime. And the point of this is, guess what? If you want to watch the Thursday night games occasionally, you're going to have to get it. That's where we're going. I'm telling you, this is where the college game's going. They're going to cut a deal. If the SEC, mark my words, if the SEC keeps this crazy deal where everybody plays a crap game, it's that crap game's going to go on some streaming platform.
I mean,
beyond ESPN.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'll buy that. I mean, you're going to see them on Amazon, Apple, wherever.
Yeah, Apple for sure. I mean, listen, there's no question that Apple is using MLS as an experiment.
Because it's a pretty detailed deal.
Yeah, there's no question that it is an experiment that is designed for Apple to try some things and accumulate data. Because if it works at all with Major League Soccer, they know, hey, we should go all in on something big.
Georgia Tech has an open spot next year for their 4th non-conference, but otherwise, they play Ole Miss again and obviously Georgia again next year, Oxford and at home against Georgia, and then in 2024 they swap Ole Miss for Notre Dame.
Well, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, where's the hand raise guy in there? Everybody goes, it's already streaming on ESPN Plus. I get it. I'm just betting that something there's beyond that. I'm just betting that there's.
And ESPN lets that go.
Maybe. ESPN doesn't care about the Ole Miss Central Arkansas game. They don't care
That's
about
not why they're paying
Auburn Mercer when Arkansas plays. Who they play in Missouri State. When Texas A&M plays Sam Houston, they don't give a. They don't care. Come on, that's not where their bread's buttered.
Georgia Tech is playing Notre Dame a lot in the future, and they have a home with Alabama coming up.
Yeah,
they just said, "By God,
What are you doing? Cancel.
Write the check."
Was Southeastern Louisiana not available? What happened? I mean, I don't understand this. Why would you do that to your coach?
I mean, in 2025, if they pick up Colorado.
Well, that's better.
Colorado, Temple, and Georgia. And Georgia State.
See, Georgia State's good. Dude, don't sleep on Georgia State. That guy's legit. I'm a fan. There are a handful of programs in the Sun Belt that have really good future
you have become
Power
a bit
5
of
coaches.
A Sun Belt.
It's great. Well, I mean, I rest my case last week, Your Honor.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, those were legitimate wins. Marshall goes to Notre Dame and wins. App State goes to College Station and wins. Georgia Southern goes to Nebraska and wins. South Alabama goes to Central Michigan and blows them out. At some point, you got to look at the league and go, pretty good.
So that's the guy that had the interim gig at Carolina.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they went up there and gave them a game. They just kind of screwed up punt protection, and it cost them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's took one to the bowl games 3 years in a row.
See the video? We talked about it on McCready and Siskey, the video of him with his players before the game the other day.
Georgia State?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, he's just so involved, and he's like got physical with a couple players in a good way.
Oh, that was him. Okay, I
and
did
he
see
knocked
this.
the helmet off.
Yeah.
What I loved about it when he knocked the helmet off is you're like, what the hell are you doing? And you see the look on the kid's face is total glee.
All good. Yeah.
It was total joy. And it was like, man, this is awesome. Because game day's supposed to be fun.
It doesn't need to be laborious.
All the labor that you put in is for the game. It's to have fun. And because like the haze in the barn and all that crap, it is. Go play, have fun. And just to see the joy on his players, it was fun. It was cool. That's a great league. I'm telling you, it's SEC super light.
Yeah, sure.
And it's awesome.
But there's enough talent to make that.
Oh, it's good. It's good football.
Yeah.
I mean, like if South Alabama plays UCLA well on Saturday, or imagine wins, that South Alabama Louisiana Lafayette game is going to be must-watch television. No joke. I'm just telling you, that's the one you're going to want to put on your computer or something and watch it because it's going to be really good football.
Yeah. And they've done a good job getting teams. They obviously rated to USA.
They have good teams. It's a fun league. I mean, it's a fun league. There's going to be some good games. I mean, if I told you App State's playing Marshall and it's the only game on, I'll watch.
Yeah, man.
Sure. All right. We'll open the phones for a little bit. If I got to find the Chiefs have the ball back down 10-7 at their own 28-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 2 at the Kansas City 28. I don't think I have a career in play-by-play waiting on me.
It's kind of difficult.
I don't think I'd be good at it. When I was a kid, I always thought that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, I wanted to be like a broadcaster and stuff. Yeah, sure. Because you listen to like Brent Musburger and Keith Jackson and all those cats.
You're looking live.
So I noticed on the MPW Digital YouTube on the homepage, there was a Oilers-Steelers game. Did you go look it up or something?
No, I didn't see that. It just was there then.
It was crazy. They must listen to you.
Oh, because we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about how the Oilers.
No, I did not know that.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah, it was there.
It was one of our suggestions or whatever, on the screen.
Yeah.
Well, that is a little creepy because I didn't click anything related to those two teams.
Totally creepy.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. It was there because I didn't have time. Otherwise, I would have gone down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
All right, there's the phone number, 662-259-8563. Chase is not feeling $1 gazillion. We're not going to be here forever. So if you want to call, go ahead and call.
Yes, Marshall had Randy Moss. Ole Miss played them in a bowl game, 1997 Motor City Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Chad Pennington, Randy Moss.
Oh, it's a pretty good Marshall team.
Yeah. That was one of their first teams probably from the elevating from D2.
That was Tuberville, right?
Yeah, his last full season.
Okay. Because his first 2 years at Ole Miss, they were ineligible because of
95, 96.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Robert, and I figured before I put the kids to bed, we should call and finally talk apostrophes.
We should, Robert. I was very appreciative of what you did with the pumpkin and all that. You got it right.
Yeah, so there's a story behind that. So for 11 years, I taught English and journalism, 8th and 11th grade, and so in 8th grade we talked large about some punctuation. So it's very simple. Everybody tries to make it super duper complicated, and it's not. Apostrophe S is singular possessive. This is usually where people quit listening. So if people quit listening, I do apologize.
You're feeding my soul right now.
Apostrophe S is singular possessive. S
let me give you a little
plural possessive.
Let me give you a little background on my childhood, okay?
Right.
So my mother has a degree essentially in English from what is now ULM. That's where she went to her undergrad. Both my parents grew up in Monroe. They were high school sweethearts.
Right.
She got a master's in, I guess, English education or whatnot at the University of Alabama.
Right.
My father has a undergrad in what is essentially English from what is now ULM. He has a master's in English / education from Ole Miss and a doctorate from the University of Alabama. So in my family, grammar was and is corrected.
Absolutely.
My children will tell you that they will get frustrated with their grandmother, my mother, when she corrects their grammar.
Still does it?
She's gotten better about it,
Okay.
but yes, she will correct grammar. Things like "and me" and "I" and things of that nature always gets corrected.
Nominative case and objective case.
Yes.
Nominative case is in the front, objective case is at the end. Yes.
The worst trouble I ever got in high school was at midterm it was junior high, eighth grade. I guess I'd failed to turn in an assignment or something. But at mid 6 weeks at Glenview Junior High School, I had an F or a D, one or the other, in English.
Ooh.
And it was bad. Bad enough that here we are 40 some odd years later, and I remember.
Do you miss copy editing, Rob? I mean, you were my copy editor in college.
Yeah, I was your copy editor. Technically, I still do it. I get stuff from people here and there and around. I do communications with our school district down here in Central Mississippi now, so a lot of people will send me things to post, and I will turn it back into the copy editor, and then I will turn into the publisher to post it. So I kind of get to do both of it. So I still sort of miss it, but I also still get to do it. So which is, I guess,
you did it for
a lot of fun.
for a little while too, right?
Yeah, I was there. So I was, because that was the end of when it was there, because that's when I got to hang out with my good friend Orly Hood, and then got to meet Sid Salter and learn a lot from him, and Marshall Ramsey, and that was the end. Those were my last 2 years of real journalism, paying journalism work.
I interrupted your story. Go ahead.
Anyway, so the story that I used to teach my eighth graders that really captured their attention, because a lot of times, especially if you're talking grammar, they're ignoring you. So I used to tell them my English class was just the cheat codes. So if you like video games and you learned the cheat codes, you got better at it. So I told them, if you want to know how to do on the English test, here are the cheat codes, and they perked up and listened. So we learned the lesson when my wife and I first got married. She has a sign for every season, and there was one that we got that said the Chapman apostrophe S. And I walked in, and I would tell the students the story. I say, I got so sad when I walked in, and I asked, why in the world are you leaving me? And she looked at me and said, what are you talking about? I said, well, the sign out front says the Chapman's house, and only one of us was born with that last name. So is this your way of telling me that you're leaving me? And of course, I got the look of, you've got to be kidding me. So I gave her a year to fix the problem, and I told her if that didn't get corrected, because her sister would paint stuff, so if it didn't get corrected, I was going to have to take matters into my own hands.
Absolutely.
So the next year it came out, and it was put out front, and so I wish I still had it, but I don't. I had a video of me taking the wooden sign and lighting it on fire so that I could show my students how serious I was about singular possessive nouns.
Well, you're just showing the incorrect nature to the whole neighborhood. You've got a big sign on in the neighborhood going, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And so literally after that, we would have people send us text messages. All right, we are the Jones. What do we do? Which then I actually have an answer to that. So, and it depends if you're going MLA style or if you're going Associated Press style. MLA style, APA, anything that's academic, the rule always follows. If it's singular possessive, it's comma S. So if it is John Jones, it's John Jones S apostrophe S. However, that's academic. If it's Associated Press, it is acceptable that if you end in an S, you can just have an apostrophe.
That's correct.
The same argument's going to be made for the Oxford comma. I am very much a disciple of the Oxford comma, but when writing in Associated Press, it's not there, and it kills me every single time.
Me too.
My soul dies a little bit.
Me too.
But then I remember that it's resurrected a little bit because I'm following at least Associated Press style.
Robert, I had this argument in both Birmingham and Mobile so many times. So very many times. I love the Oxford comma. It's needed.
Is it?
It is.
So
it is. Oh, it don't.
No,
don't,
come on.
Come on, don't
it
go.
Is.
I have a glass bottle, and I will hit you.
When you're reading a sentence,
when we were in New Orleans,
you
and
always
we saw the
know
murderers, comma, Neal and Chase.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
you always know what they're trying to say. I mean, we can get stupid about it, but you always have an idea of what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the common sense argument. And remember, everybody has common sense, but common practice is sold separately.
Agreed.
So the other thing that you can remember with the apostrophes, because we're going on into the apostrophes, if you're going to write about the 1990s, the decade that was, it's 1990S.
Yes.
It's plural.
It's not.
If you're talking about the 90s, it's apostrophe 90S.
Right. Correct. There's nothing after the zero ever.
No. The other thing too that kills me is when people want to talk about the do's and the don'ts. You can say it much better than you can spell it. If you can't spell it, just don't do it. Find another way to talk about the do's and the don'ts.
Agreed.
Talk about the pros and the cons. It's just it just grates on my nerves every single time I read something.
Robert,
but when I find something good,
are you sure you're not like my brother? I mean, is it?
If you haven't read here's a book. If you haven't read it, it's probably one of the best books ever written, and it's called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's based off of the difference between British grammar and American grammar, and it's based off of the joke: a panda bear walks into a bar, he orders a beer, he stands up, he shoots the bartender, he walks out and leaves. And the guy says, "You can't do that," because I'm a panda bear. Look it up. He says, "Okay." So he looks it up. He says, panda, native of Asia, eats, comma, here comes the Oxford comma, shoots and leaves. Well,
yeah.
He eats, comma, shoots and leaves.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
So, but it's a funny book. But yeah, I can go days on the grammar. I used to say that I could teach life lessons about grammar, active voice, passive voice, all that kind of stuff. And that's when I would hold my students' attention for most of the semesters. But then when we got down deep into gerunds and participles, they were out.
Yeah. There is a limit to everybody, Rob.
There certainly was.
Yeah.
Although there was a story that's not politically correct to tell anymore when I would talk about the time when I saw some cross-dressers on an elevator, and I used that story to get into gerunds about verbs pretending to be nouns. And I called it grammar and drag. I can't do that anymore, but it was great when I could.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Hey, really appreciate
that was English class. Hey, great English. Woo.
Yeah.
Appreciate you calling, Robert.
Yeah, I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
Later, bud.
Bye. Hey, who do we have?
Hello, this is Rodney.
Rodney, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing tonight?
We're good.
Well, this Saturday we finally get to find out how Ole Miss is as a team.
We get a better clue. I don't know that this is going to be the absolute verdict on the Rebels, but
You can find out.
No, it won't be the absolute verdict. But I know y'all don't think we can lose, but we can lose this game. I mean, we shouldn't lose, but we can lose this game. You can lose any game.
Well, you couldn't lose the last two games.
No, especially the last one.
Well, you weren't. You could play Troy 100 times and you'd beat them 100 times. And listen, here's the deal about Georgia Tech. Just keeping this real. If Ole Miss loses to Georgia Tech, and for the record, I don't think there's any chance. I think
I don't either.
They could play 100 times, and I think Ole Miss would win 100 times. But if Ole Miss loses to Georgia Tech, the bottom line is, for us, next week's going to be a nightmare, and it's a sign that this team is nowhere close to what we thought it was, and it's going to be a really rough last 2 months of the season. Mm-hmm. So I just don't – and I don't think that's the scenario.
I don't either, because I went back and I watched their game last week, and their offense is what the quarterback can't get the ball down the field. He's not very accurate, and I don't see them moving the ball on our defense. I mean, we don't know a lot about our defense, but they're so fast and they tackle pretty good. So I don't think they're going to move the ball much.
Which tells you that you do know something about the defense. I mean, I have concerns about Ole Miss right now, not big time, but it's a few, but they're not really on that side of the ball.
No,
as
not
weird
really.
as they're about offense. I mean, I have some concerns about quarterback play. I'm in the minority here. I have some concerns about wide receiver play.
Yeah.
And I have some concern about offensive line play. I'm not sold. So, but
I have concerns about the line pass protecting.
Yeah.
But as far as the running, I'm not really concerned. But their pass protection, they need to have a cleaner pocket for our quarterback, which is Dart. And our receivers, I think we're all right on receivers. We just don't have a – if Robinson could get going, somebody could get down the field, take the top off the defense.
He's got to take a step.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with what Tyler was saying this afternoon. Whichever quarterback it is, all you just don't go in there and lose the game.
Yeah.
But you got to let them play, too, now.
Yeah.
You got to let them do
They're
the
only
whole
going
play.
if Dart throws 3 picks or something, and then all of a sudden it gets funny. Otherwise, I mean, they're going to win. Just.
There was one other thing I was going to. Yes, Neal. Now, Jeffrey, right. Now, I like Jeff, but I didn't appreciate him questioning Matt Corral, about how injured he was last year and during that Auburn game and stuff. I believe he was really hurt and stuff.
Well, I do too. But Jeffrey's not the only person that thinks there might have been a little bit of Hollywood going on in terms of a Heisman campaign. You can talk me into that argument, even though I don't necessarily believe it. But I knew what he was getting at. I didn't have a problem with it. It doesn't matter. It was fine. I mean, there was a little bit of Hollywood that LSU game last year when Lane opened the week by saying I don't know if he can play, and then Matt.
Oh, and I knew Lane was full of it right there.
But that's kind of what Jeffrey was talking about. There was a little bit of Hollywood in that to try to bolster a Heisman campaign, and I don't have a big problem with that. It's fine, but I don't have a problem with anybody who kind of criticizes it a little bit. It's okay.
Okay. Well, y'all pull them through Saturday. Are you going over there, Neal?
I'm not. It's the only game this year I'm going to miss. It's Dad's weekend for my daughter's sorority at Arkansas. So I'm going to Fayetteville in the morning to hang out with my girls for the weekend, and then I'm coming back early Sunday.
Well, be careful, bud.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Joey.
Hey, Joey, what's up?
Thanks for taking my call, fellas. I kind of just wanted to know y'all's opinion. If y'all had to take any of the young quarterbacks in the NFL right now, let's say like under 27 years old, like the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows, the Herberts of the world, who would y'all take, both of y'all personally?
Herbert.
If you're building a franchise.
I would take
Herbert.
I would take Herbert.
If you're doing a multi-year deal, it's probably the answer.
Yeah,
I want Josh Allen in a 1 year.
I think that's I either want Allen or Mahomes in a 1 year. In a long-term deal, I want Herbert, and my second choice is Burrow.
Yeah, I kind of feel, I think I would probably go Herbert or Josh Allen personally, but I appreciate y'all taking my calls, fellas. Yep. And one more thing, if anybody ever gets mad at y'all about going off about random stories about the MLB and the NFL, I love those, so those are awesome.
Well, thanks you, Joey.
Most do. It's just it's a loud minority.
It's very vocal.
All right, appreciate it, fellas.
It's a great era of quarterbacks.
Well, it's gotten better and better and better and better. As the passing game gets to become a bigger deal in the NFL, running backs are de-emphasized.
There are
receivers and quarterbacks.
There are just some really good ones. There's the phone number. People are asking for it, 662-259-8563. But I love Herbert. I love everything about his game. 22 seconds left. Mahomes is upset.
You think he's going to be healthier long run versus the other two?
I love his style of play.
Yeah.
And he's got all the physical tools in the world. But look, I mean, if you told me it's Allen, I'm with you. If you tell me it's Burrow, I'm with you. If you tell me Patrick Mahomes plays till he's 45, I get it. I mean, we're still in an era where Aaron Rodgers is fantastic. Frankly, where some of the, quote, mediocre quarterbacks are really good.
In a different era there.
Yeah, we got cheated out of Deshaun Watson a little bit, or Deshaun Watson cheated himself out of us. Tom Brady's still playing.
He is.
I mean, there's some, and even the guys like Winston, for example, nobody would call him an elite quarterback, but dude's got a cannon for an arm.
Oh, look, talent is not an issue there. Throwing it to the other team is.
Mark says, I guess I'm nuts because I think Mahomes may be the best quarterback I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't think that makes you –
valid opinion.
I don't think that makes you nuts. I really don't. I mean, you can make a super argument for Patrick Mahomes. There's something about Herbert that I've liked since he was at Oregon, frankly. Charles asked if we can do a G-Pits this week. Well, it's my fault. We're going to do a G-Pits next week. I screwed it up. How much do I want to get into this? There was one of the player shows this week that was problematic with getting it scheduled, and it ended up eating into Wednesday when Jay and I tape, and it was my fault. We're going to try to tape all of the player shows on Sunday. I'm getting up super early in Fayetteville on Sunday and getting back in large part to tape all 3 player shows. It's once they get to Monday, this gets hard.
Yeah.
So that made this week kind of weird. But we'll figure it out. We ended up getting all 3 shows taped. They're all on YouTube. They're all on our podcast network, so they're all there. So it all worked out.
Quarterback is hard. That's why somebody him gets paid.
Is this Grind?
Yo, it's Grind.
What's up, Grind? How are you?
Oh, man, just enjoying the show, man, enjoying the show. Still, goddamn, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Just still, I guess, juiced up off that A&M loss. It's just giving me so much energy throughout this week, man.
I understand. It made me happy, and I look at their schedule, and I can just start doing L's.
Greedy. We're getting greedy.
Yeah, I think.
No. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I think we're setting
Don't say that.
for disappointment, Grind. I really do. I think we're setting ourselves up to be really disappointed. I do. I fear it. I fear that
Did you guys
to bed on Saturday.
Did you guys by chance happen to watch that game?
I did. I watched a good bit of it. Yeah, because it was like a drug being injected. Yeah, I watched a good bit of it. And then I got to Vaught Hemingway and found it and watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I think Chase is right. I mean, look, I hope Chase is wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
Because you picked them to cover.
And Chase hopes he's wrong.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting greedy on this. I think they're going to beat Miami. I think they're going to beat Arkansas. I think they'll probably go beat Mississippi State. Alabama will smoke them.
Beat Arkansas?
Yeah.
From what I done seen from Arkansas, they gonna beat Arkansas?
Well, here's the
No
thing.
way.
Well, here's the thing. If they don't beat Arkansas, then if they don't beat Arkansas, they're not going to beat Mississippi State. So let me just go ahead and tell you that now. Let me get that out of the way for people who are like hung up on this. If they can't beat Arkansas, they won't beat Mississippi State. And if they don't, and they're not beating Alabama, and then we're going to get the chaos. So next week when they play, no matter what happens against Miami, if they lose to Miami, it's all bets are off.
Yes, curtains go.
But if they beat Miami and lose to Arkansas, we're going to get the chaos just a week later because they're not beating Mississippi State in that scenario, and Alabama's going to smoke their ass. And then after that,
they will.
After that, I think it's Florida, Ole Miss, Auburn. It's not like it slows down. And then they get LSU at the end, and LSU's going to potentially be better by the end of the year. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And LSU hates them. LSU plays A&M pretty well.
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. Ed Orgeron went out with a win against them boys last year.
Yep.
Now, I will say, the football gods, they have a sense of humor. Because when A&M tried that field goal kick out to tie the game up, I was like, all right, they finna tie the game. And, man, he kicked the worst kick I done seen in probably about 10 years. The damn ball didn't even hit the end zone. I fell off the couch laughing, man.
I mean, he literally it was like somebody hit a pitching wedge into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, just –
You know what I mean? I said, boy, y'all pay for everything but a kicker. God dang, boy. Y'all is tripping out there. That game, man. It was it was beautiful. And then Texans has just been lovely this week, man.
Yeah,
panic.
Well, they have done the stages of grief.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
And they are
as a family.
Yes, they've done the stages of grief, and they are right now. This is why a Saturday loss would be just. Oh God, I can't even.
We just thought Neal he was an Ole Miss.
A Saturday loss, because by Saturday they are going to have convinced themselves that it was an anomaly, it was a one-off, and that they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay.
Dude,
they're okay.
One of their I guess listeners or whatever called in on their show and was like, I guess one of the reporters after the game asked Jimbo, said, are you thinking about getting an offensive coordinator, or is your ego too big or whatever?
Yeah. Now, hey, in fairness, Grind, hold on one second. In fairness, because Chase didn't see all this.
No.
In fairness to that, it's kind of fairness, and it's kind of, here's what happens when everybody on your beat's a Giant fan.
Mm-hmm.
The questions are pointed and kind of emotional, and it's really a weird vibe when they lose. Anyway, Grind, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, man, a fan called in and was like, I don't know. Well, I know who the reporter is. I'm not going to call him out, but that was not very Aggie-like. We don't do that. I was like, whoa. I was like, buddy, if my coach that we paying $100 million to pull that, we asking everything. We doing everything.
Yeah.
You talking about that's not Aggie-like?
Yeah.
What?
I know, and a lot of their fans love Jimbo because Jimbo stayed with them. They love Jimbo because Jimbo loved them back. It's emotional. Like, they gave Jimbo that contract because they were so scared he was going to leave for LSU. And then when he stayed, they're like, we'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
It made no common sense.
A&M would never win a championship until they stopped doing that midnight yell BS. I told you, I went out there one time, man. That dude out there on the field just started slapping his elbows. They started making some noises. I thought Cal Field was going to open up at the 50. I got the hell out of there, man. Shoot. You crazy as hell.
My problem is that they this week, for whatever reason, this is the week that they disown the whole, that they get upset about it, that they get defensive. It's like, no, steer into it. That's who you are. Yeah. Just own it.
Well, I mean, it's weird as hell. They should stop it. Like, if you had to introduce somebody to college football, A&M would be the last school. If A&M is the first school, you show somebody from Europe, like, hey man, like, show me what's college football about. How do people get ready for the games? You would not show them A&M.
I am a little curious how it survives being as offensive as it is.
But was it offensive, really? They called them hillbillies. It's okay.
Yeah. It was all right, man.
They've gone crazy some weeks. Like, this was not the worst they've ever been. I guess that's my point. Like, I'm just a little shocked that it has not toned down. Let's put it that way.
Well, like,
maybe not ended.
You hear about, like, the pregame in Austin before the Alabama game, which apparently was absolutely electric. Austin was apparently just on fire last week. And then you look at the stuff at A&M and you're like, how's this? How are they the same?
Man, but this is my last thing on A&M, and then I'm gonna hit Texas right quick, man. Neal, I don't know how you do it, bro, but man, I would not let my baby girls go to Dallas. You don't ever feel that they'll come back with a Yale leader. That don't ever cross your mind, man. But if they come back with a Yale leader,
it does not.
Oh my goodness,
it does not. I know my girls a little bit. There's a 0% chance. There's a 0% chance. Now my the youngest of the two, she's in a circle where she's hanging out with a lot of baseball players on a fairly routine basis. So I get more concerned with that than I do a Yale leader.
Okay, I got you. Man, I thought my plan with Alabama was going to work, but Texas couldn't pull it through. I thought I was the key to saving college football for a minute.
I was thinking about you. When they kicked that field goal, I thought Grind did it. He did it.
Man, what?
But then I looked at the clock for some reason, because I went inside and I told my wife, I said, there's 45 seconds left. And I looked back and I was like, no, there's a minute and a half left. And I went, oh, shit. They have too much time.
Yep.
everybody knew what was happening at that point.
Yeah.
And Bama has a kicker now, which is still kind of disconcerting.
You sort of knew it. You just sort of, a minute and a half, and you're like, oh, son of a. And then when Young avoided the sack on that play, you just knew at that point there was no doubt. You knew, and they could have called 10 timeouts. He was going to make that kick.
Yeah, I agree. And, man, I don't really have much on the Ole Miss game. I think Ole Miss is going to go out there, handle business. I think fans are going to be frustrated throughout the game. It's going to probably be a little jittery. But I think Ole Miss wins. The game goes way under. We all finna count our money. It's going to be like, sitting around the campfire, just count money. It's going to feel great if everybody bet it on the under like they should.
I think Tyler's right when he says Ole Miss is probably going to start a little slow because the speed of the game is going to be so different from what they've seen in the first 2 weeks. It's going to take them a minute. And I think that's another reason they go under.
I agree. And then, man, this is my last thing before I let y'all go, man. This game this Saturday in Auburn, Alabama. I don't want to be this hyperbolic, but a loss, and I think Auburn is set back for 5 years. Auburn probably won't win 9 games for another 5 years.
Grind.
You know what? Okay, look. While I make this point, Chase, do me a favor. You're by a laptop, right?
I am.
Can you just pull up the 2023 class of Alabama rankings, like the players for the class of 2023?
Yeah, sure.
And so now with Brian Harsin, like we all know, and first off, I've seen Penn State. I watched the Purdue. I went back and watched the whole Ohio game, and they were actually pretty impressive against Ohio. They went out and did what Auburn didn't do against San Jose State. Now, the only thing, they're young at the skill positions, but Auburn isn't what I thought they'd be at DB so far this year. Maybe it changes. I'm not. They haven't impressed me like I thought. I believe Auburn should.
Go ahead.
What are you gonna say now?
No, you're good. I just said I got the look. But go ahead. Finish your thought.
Okay, yeah, and I was gonna say I believe Auburn should win the battle at line of scrimmage on defensive line. But I think it's gonna be the same for Penn State. I think they're gonna win the line of scrimmage on D-line, and I just think that their coaches are probably gonna be able to scheme up some things better. I honestly think Penn State probably wins like 24-13, something like that.
Yeah, I picked Penn State, but I'm kind of mad at myself because I've thought all along Auburn would win the game, but their quarterback play has just been so shaky.
It's so awful, man, so awful. Now look, and this is why I say that the future of Auburn resides on this game, because if Auburn loses this game, the season's gonna go down the drain. It's gonna go down the drain. And now, Chase, just read off the teams that those kids are committed to, and if the kid is uncommitted, you can just say his name, and I can pretty much tell you where he's going.
All right, top 15. Georgia, Clemson, Florida, Alabama, James Smith, undecided.
Georgia. James Smith's going to go to Alabama. He's going to go to Alabama.
Florida State, Clemson, Jaquavius Russell, Carver.
He's going to go to Georgia.
Okay. Tennessee, Alabama, Penn State, Alabama, Carmelo English, Phoenix, Alabama.
He just decommitted from Auburn yesterday.
Yeah, stop.
So that is the top 15 in the state of Alabama.
And there you go. And there goes the future of Auburn football right there.
Yeah, but in an old world, I might say you're onto something. But in a new world, somebody will just go raid the portal and they'll be okay.
I don't think that'll work, man. I don't think so, man. I think you got to be a type of coach to raid the portal. I think even Nick Saban's seeing that.
Then you go get that type of coach if you have to. I mean, we're covering a guy that raided the portal, and he kind of appears to have sort of filled every hole.
But I think Lane Kiffin is kind of proven before our eyes is that he's special. Like, I think Lane Kiffin kind of dabble in both. Like, if Kiffin is able to keep Perkins on board, then yeah, he's able to dabble in both. Because that'll be a big win, in my eyes.
You talking about Judkins?
No, Suntarine Perkins,
the
linebacker they've got.
Yeah. It appears that they've solved that.
They seem to have fixed it.
Yeah.
Okay, see, and I like that's a plus. That's a plus in my eyes.
Yeah.
No. So I just think Lane Kiffin's just a special type of coach that Ole Miss has right now.
Yeah, he fits in a lot of ways, and he gets it, and I think his strength here, I think, is that he, rather than becoming obsessed with the weakness, if you will, he just sort of accepts it and fixes it rather than no, we're going to recruit over this. No, you're not going to go get a bunch of 5-star players. It's just not going to happen. So figure it out.
Yep. All right, man. I appreciate the show. Hopefully we get to see some good ball this weekend and you guys get to have a fun time on Saturday.
All right, Grind.
Let's talk about
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, man.
All right, I put the phone number back up. They're starting the second half in Kansas City, 10-7 Chargers with the ball. Just played the first play of the second half. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, guys, it's Vibin.
Hey, Bobbin, what's up, man?
Nothing much. I am dual TVing it right now. I actually just got back from a date.
How'd it go? Not that good, apparently.
I thought it went good.
Okay, all right.
She seems really nice. It actually went really well. She's pretty cool, very funny, into sports. She's a nurse,
Oh.
I feel like, those are all good qualities to have.
Cubs fan or Cardinals fan?
She's not a big baseball person. She loves basketball, though. She actually played some college hoops.
Oh, okay. Who's her team?
She loves Southern.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But I just got back. I'm dual TVing it. Me and my roommates, we have on the obviously the NFL game, and then we have little Mississippi JUCO action for y'all. We have Pearl River Community College versus Northwest, and y'all want to hear something very interesting / kind of ironic. One of Northwest's receivers is Joe Horn's kid that was committed to Ole Miss when Matt Luke was there.
He's at Northwest.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah. Yes, he's at Northwest. He's number 1. I think his name might be Jacob. I don't know. Joe Horn's got a lot of kids.
That sounds right.
He had a stepson who was at ICC when I was back in the day.
Well, didn't Joe coach in JUCO a little bit?
I don't recall that. He came back. He didn't come back to ICC after he got done playing until I was there, and they did like this NFL Network thing on like where you came from or whatever. And he instead his JUCO coach from back in the day, who then was in administration at ICC, and it was a really awkward thing.
Oh, because I forgot
that dude
Joe did play JUCO, right?
Joe Horn just absolutely annihilated him on NFL Network. He called him like the worst coach in the history of football or something. And the cat was like the director of admissions or something. I don't know, like back then at ICC. It was a little bit of a weird day in the student services building the next day.
Yeah, but no, I literally I read the kid's name. I think they said Sutton Horn, and they said, yeah, he's a transfer from Texas State, and I was like, wait a minute, Jacob Peeler. I don't know if he's still at Texas State. He might not be anymore, but I was like, hold up here. I had to connect the dots on that one.
That way,
and sure enough, yeah, that's the same kid.
What's
how many? It is 14-14. PRC Northwest has the ball. They're driving at the 40.
Okay.
It is, I think, the fourth quarter.
All right.
Northwest is number 4 in the country, and PRCC is number 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I was an alumni of PRCC, and I also used to work there. And I have a family friend that's a coach, so they play it every Thursday. So I figured I usually put that on one of my TVs. But yeah. So are we sure that this under for Ole Miss and Georgia Tech is a lock?
Well, nothing's ever a lock.
Nothing's a lock, but I like it a lot. I just don't think Tech's going to score more than about 13.
They haven't
14
completed
points.
a pass over 21 yards all season.
I mean,
did we complete a pass over 21 yards in the Troy game?
No,
22
was in the Troy game. I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, I think Ole Miss scores in the 30s, and I think Georgia Tech's in the teens somewhere, which is going to get you safe.
Well, I was talking to a couple of my friends into it. I was like, guys, Ole Miss could it could be best case scenario, and they could win 41-17, and that's still the under.
Yeah. As long as I don't
think they're going to score 41.
I don't either. Because I anticipate they'll start slow.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Georgia Tech's very good. I mean, they looked good against Clemson, but can we be real? Is Clemson really even a top 5 team? Or is their defense just that good?
Probably not, but at this point,
they're in that mush.
It's so early in the season that, you just got to rank somebody. Someone's got to be ranked there, so why not them?
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, honest, I just don't think Clemson – I don't know. I think Dabo's kind of had that window pass him.
Chargers convert a 4th and 1. That was a big moment in that game. 1st and 10.
I took Chargers money line.
1st and 10 Chargers at the Chiefs 15, I think. 10:26 to go in the third quarter. It's a big spot right there.
Neal, being from Louisiana, did it throw you off when you found out Justin, it's Hebert, his last name was pronounced Hebert, not Hebert?
Well, his has the R in it, so it makes it easier. It's Herbert.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought it was spelled the same way.
If it didn't have the R in it, then yeah, it
You do
would throw me off. I'd be like, that's Hebert. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I went to high school with like 2 or 3 Heberts, and
Oh,
I saw that last name, and I was like, oh, he might be Case. That's the same thing with a Thibodeau kid from Oregon. I immediately assumed he was from Louisiana.
Justin Herbert
But
just connected with Mike Williams on a touchdown, and this ball was thrown. Watch this throw. This is why people love Herbert so much. This ball is thrown where absolutely there's only one potential outcome. The ball is thrown in a perfect spot. And that's a hell of a catch. It's a hell of a catch, but that's a 0% chance of anything happening other than a incompletion or a touchdown right there. The DB has no choice, no chance, and the coverage is pretty damn good. That's why people love Justin Herbert. There just aren't a ton of guys who can make that throw, and he makes it routinely.
who do you think could – I don't know, man. I feel like it's going to be him and Burrow are going to be 1-2 for the next 5 to 10 years.
I think Herbert and Burrow are this new iteration of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
Ooh.
Herbert is Peyton Manning, and Burrow is Tom Brady.
I will say the way Burrow just plays the game reminds me of Brady a lot.
There's a lot of similarities.
I mean, he doesn't have all this. I mean, Burrow isn't necessarily going to hit the 70-yard bomb, but he's just very patient, hits his check downs, can make the throws on the important downs, stuff like that. You know, what made Brady so great.
Burrow has a special wide receiver. I mean,
he's an animal.
Jamar Chase is an absolute beast.
Yeah, that LS. I still push back, and y'all may disagree with me on this. I still push back. I got a lot of LSU friends that say it's the best college football team in history, that 2019 LSU team. I don't think it's that. It's for sure the best offense in the history of college football.
They were pretty good. They were good enough on.
I don't know if that 0-1 Miami team is losing to that. I mean, and plus you're talking about like an 18-year difference. That's two different styles of football, you know. Even in the early 2000s, the game was different. But, you know, I don't know. It's hands down the best offense in the history of a sport, right?
Yeah. Listen, if you're playing a tournament, they're in it, and they're going to be a threat. They could score at will. I mean, that was a super talented. It was a super talented football team. I mean, defensively, maybe they weren't elite, but they didn't have to be. And so you got to factor that in.
Yeah, and the argument for them is that they had one of the best defensive minds in college football. Because I mean, Aranda's defense was not great that year, but he is still a very damn good defensive mind.
It wasn't great, but it didn't have to be great. Mm-hmm. It just had to. Right. It just had to do its job. I mean, they weren't, as they played, they weren't like, hey, we need to win the all-time national championship. No, they just needed to win that national championship. And so all they had to do defensively was just kind of hang in there, and they did. I mean, they were really good when they had to be.
Yeah. I mean, it pisses me off to this day because, I mean, I grew up hating LSU, but I remember watching that offense. It was after the Texas game when literally Texas was kind of just clawing back in it, and every time Texas would get within like a score, Burrow would just hit like 20-yard pass, 10-yard pass. They'd have a 7-yard run, and then that offense was ungodly. Honestly, what probably pisses me off the most is that Ed Orgeron gets to have that.
Yeah,
because I hate Ed. I do. I know some people like him, but I don't know. I've always kind of thought Ed was a meathead. Like everyone is like, oh, he's a perfect like college football caricature. The way he like, he's fresh out of Louisiana. Like he looks like someone who's born and bred in Louisiana. But I don't know. I've never been a big Ed Orgeron guy. But I mean, I'll give him credit. He was a head coach. I don't. It kind of fell into his lap, I feel like. But, I mean, he was the head coach. But, Chase, how we feel about Sunday?
History is the only thing that I feel good about. I mean, that they're whatever Mintz said, 8-1 in the last 9 or 7-1 in the last 8 against the Bucs. They played them well. It's at home. If you're going to make a real seeding run, it's a game you probably have to. You probably should win on Sunday, because I feel like the Saints' path is 5-1 in the division. So if that's the case, you need Sunday.
I think they could drop one to Tampa and maybe drop one to Carolina, but they can't do anything else after that.
Their schedule's
I don't
know what they are yet. I mean, they look like crap on Sunday, but they won.
Oh my God, that offensive line looked about as the equivalent to how bad Ole Miss's offensive line has looked at times. It was just not good. I mean, plus, is Pennington – he's not even playing, right? Pennington's hurt. The guy they drafted?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Jarvis Landry looked good. Kamara he didn't do a lot, but I think he was hurt during part of a game. Like, he hasn't practiced all week. I will say this. I think Tampa Bay is really hurt right now. Like, I don't think Chris Godwin or Mike Evans or any of those guys practice this week, which is a big deal. I mean,
Asante Samuel off Patrick Mahomes. It's first down San Diego in Kansas City territory. Kansas City having a little rough night. Yeah, that's a catch.
It's what, 17-7?
7, and now the Chargers. Damn it, Neal. The Chargers have the ball at the Kansas City 35. First and 10 with a chance to kind of put a grip on it, because that's gonna stand as an interception. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
All right, appreciate y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, McCole Hardman got hurt on the play before that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a little
getting late early there.
Little touch and go right now for the Chiefs. That AFC, man, there's so many good teams. It's going to be a long season. That's why the whole overreaction Monday was all. Hey, who do we have?
Hey guys, it's Reb talking.
Hey Reb, what's up?
I wasn't going to mention this at first, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Joe Burrow, low 4-star. Justin Herbert, 3-star. Kind of interesting. It just kind of shows how difficult quarterback evaluations are, because those guys could be the face of the league moving forward, and they're not the surefire 5-star that sometimes you think they might be.
No, listen, I mean, I know it's easy to make fun of the whole ranking thing, and we do it sometimes ourselves. We make fun of the ranking thing, but I'm glad I don't have to do it. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to make that type of a judgment on a 16, 17-year-old kid. It's
so many factors. Just everything.
Yeah, and competition and all that stuff. It's just hard. And they're not going to get it all right. The fact that they get as many of them right as they do is they probably don't get enough credit for that.
To know a kid's internal drive when they're 16 or 17, there's no way to know the life experience there's no way to know that type of thing.
Yep, they don't. And so it's a guess. And listen, if you talk to some coaches, coaches will tell you it's a guess a lot of times.
Yeah. I can imagine it. You just look at the arm talent and you're like, well, he's got a damn good arm. Let's see I see how everything else plays out over the most formative years of his life, where stuff gets complicated.
How's he going to handle adversity? How's he going to handle when things aren't going well? How's he going to handle losing? A lot of times those elite kids have never had anything go wrong. How's he going to handle a setback? How's he going to handle a bad game? How's he going to handle getting yelled at? How coachable is he going to be? There's all sorts of stuff that they just don't know.
Yeah, like you said, I don't envy the position of – I'm sure there's some positions that are a lot easier to rank, but quarterback, shoot, it's nothing – it's not easy. Not easy at all.
No, it's not. It's very difficult. That's why they miss on a bunch. I mean, Kiffin's talked about that. There have been misses. NFL teams with all of the background that they have, all of the detail that they have, they've missed.
They're diving into guys' ankle sizes, and they're going so in depth, and even they miss. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
That got overturned.
So the question I came in with, it's a little bit random, and I'll make it quick. So in politics, there's no doubt in my mind that there's insider trading. Call me a cynic, but I just there's no doubt in my mind. In collegiate athletics and professional athletics, how prevalent do y'all think like insider betting is? Do y'all is that I don't know. Is that a problem? Is that something that y'all think happens?
So when you say insider trading, you mean like in terms of politics, politicians know about like a corporation sale or something that's going to happen, so they can short stock and that kind of thing?
Yeah, or like, hey, there's supposed to be a mass mandate to buy stock in a company that manufactures this.
Right. Oh yeah, there's no question that happens on both sides of the aisle. In pro and college sports,
they punish it to such a degree that I actually think it does curtail it to whatever level. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not anywhere near majorly prevalent.
You'd have to be so like, who's the receiver that got a year suspension?
Calvin Ridley.
He got a year suspension for betting on a game that he wasn't involved in a season where he was hurt. So if a coach did something like that, it'd be the end of his career.
And it's in the CBA, it's in the collective bargaining agreement all the way down. Through, and the different sports are different. From what you can do in fantasy sports, like the NFL can say, hey, you can do everything but football, and you're fine up to like $500 of a prize or something. But then like basketball goes, nope, nothing, no fantasy sports at all, or whatever it is.
Yeah, Major League Baseball players all have fantasy football teams, but they are told.
Yeah,
they are reminded all the time that, guys, this cannot bleed over into anything. You walk into a Major League Baseball clubhouse, and I've been in them. It's very – you can't escape the clubhouse without knowing that betting on Major League Baseball is strictly forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get caught –
Career ending.
Yeah, well,
career ending type.
Look at Pete Rose. Look at Pete Rose. It's – forget the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose is out of the game. And has been out of the game for the longest time. You just can't do it. So I don't know. Nothing happens in Congress and they get family members to do it. Like, I don't even want to name names. There's a name that's on my mind right now, but I'm sure it happens on both sides of the aisle. They get family members to do it and stuff. I don't think in sports, I don't think a coach's wife or coach's brother, for example, could take insider trading and do something without people knowing about it.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, that's interesting. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all's time.
All right, Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
All right, got time for one or two more, then we'll shut it down. Still 17-7, Kansas City. Hardman's back on the field, but he's got a limp. He doesn't look particularly healthy. I got that game on. We've got Reds, Cardinals. Cardinals make a play at the plate, so it's 3-1. Reds going to the bottom of the eighth. Not that anybody cares. Although there's probably some Cardinal fans in the stream that are keeping up.
Loading a podcast from Brian right now as well, so more content coming.
There's tons of content on the site as we speak. I'm looking at it right now. So just on. Got Brian's podcast loading right now. We also have, just in podcast form, trying to pull it up. In podcast form, we've got the Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, Pete DeWeese's Pigskin Preview, McCready and Siski, our podcast from earlier today with Jeffrey, and then just going back one day, the Davis and Igmanosin Show presented by the College Corner, my extra podcast with Ryan Brown, another Rippy Wrights with Weldon Rotenberg, and our show with Kelly Quinlan, and the Troy Brown Show presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. If you're driving to Atlanta and you don't have anything to listen to, I suggest MPW Digital.
Yeah, there's stuff.
And if you still have nothing to listen to, if you listen to all of our stuff, it's one hell of a drive to Atlanta. Let's put it that way. And just looking at our download numbers, thank you to all of you who are listening, and we really appreciate you. You mean a lot to us, and it's always validating to see those numbers.
It's a hell of a swing there because they were going in to go up a good bit. Instead, it's back to 3 now, 24 to 17-14 instead of 24.
Oh, did they just score?
Yeah, they just scored.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah. So
Jake says can't forget Chase's show. Did you put up? Oh yeah, your interview with the Chancellor.
It is up.
That was
the week. Yep.
That was earlier in the week. We get to Thursday and you can't remember.
Yeah, that was Tuesday morning.
I can't remember Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chase has an interview with Glenn Boyce, the Chancellor at Ole Miss. So there's a ton there. Also, the Mason Brooks show from earlier in the week that is still, from a timing standpoint, still valid. So there's a lot there. Appreciate you for pointing that out, Jake. All right, we're gonna stop there. Appreciate Ben Mintz for his time. Thanks to everybody who called in. Chase will be with you on Saturday night. I'll call in as well on the MPW Digital post-game show, and then we'll be back with you on Monday for another week of the Oxford Exxon podcast. We'll put this up in 2 podcasts. We'll put up the podcast with Ben as 1 hour, and then we'll put up the calls as a second hour. So if you're listening to the first hour and you don't want to listen to calls, don't. If you do, we had a lot of good ones. Thanks to everybody who did call, Grind and Robert and Vibin and Reb Talking and everybody else who called. Appreciate all of you. Have a great weekend. If you're driving to Atlanta, please be safe. And we look forward to talking to you again on Monday on the Oxford Exxon podcast. For Chase, I'm Neal. Until then, take care.